We're back with another episode of Hoosier Myths and Legends.
I'm Rebecca Wilhelm.
I'm Mary Quigley.
And I'm Hope Wilhelm.
Join us as we dive into the spookier side of the Hoosier state.
So what comes to your mind when you think of Indiana? Do you think of corn? Do you think of basketball? Do you think of the Indianapolis 500? Maybe you think of famous celebrities who were born in Indiana, like John Mellencamp or Michael Jackson.
But as the saying goes, there was more than corn in Indiana. 92 counties make up the Hoosier state. In this podcast, we are going to discuss some Indiana folklore from each of these counties. If you are into tall tales, ghosts, or spooky legends, then this is a podcast you are not going to want to miss.
Today's episode comes from Fulton County.
Located in Rochester, Indiana, is Lake Manitou. The lake is a 55-foot deep, man-made lake, and it was created in 1827. The lake is surrounded by a park and a nature preserve. According to the Lake Manitou website, the entire property covers 775 acres. It's a very popular recreation area if you enjoy swimming, kayaking, fishing, or boating. The name of the lake comes from the Potawatomi word, which means spirit. In fact, the Potawatomi Indians believed that the lake and the surrounding area was cursed by a monster that supposedly held supernatural powers. Settlers to the area, hearing the legends in the 19th century, called Lake Manitou Devil's Lake. Today, we're going to tell you about the legend of the Lake Manitou Monster.
To be honest, I had not heard of Lake Manitou.
Me either, but this place sounds really interesting.
I hadn't either, but to be honest, after all of this research that we've done, this place sounds pretty amazing.
So let's go ahead and dive right into it.
The lake began with a land treaty between the U.S. and the Potawatomi Native American tribe in 1826.
So the government had to build the tribe a mill so that they could grind corn.
The mill needed water to power it. Luckily, the area had 5 small lakes.
And the building of the dam flooded the area, and that was how the 5 lakes there became one big lake that they named Lake Manitou.
Right from the start, the Potawatomi started to tell tales of a great serpent.
They named it Meshquikinik. No one really knows where the monster came from.
Or what it was.
Legend says that the monster must have been living in one of the smaller lakes.
We did find something interesting on the Pine Barrens Institute website in an article titled Cryptid Profile, Meshquikinik, the Monster of Lake Manitou by Adam Benedict.
According to Benedict's article, the lake's name means good spirit and evil spirit in the Potawatomi language.
Well, local legend says that the Potawatomi never ever used the lake. They would not swim, fish, or even bathe in the lake.
But of course, as Adam Benedict's article points out, we really have no way of knowing if this is true.
It's just a common legend associated with the lake.
I do think it's interesting that when the mill was being constructed in 1827, that the workers started saying they had seen something in that lake.
According to Benedict's article, there was a group of men which had members from both the builder and surveyor side of the project that claimed to have witnessed on more than one occasion a creature which was thought to be over 30 feet long, was dark in color, possessed a long neck with a horse-like head, and was seen both surfacing and submerging within the waters of the lake.
Oh, that's creepy.
It really is.
According to the Unnatural Indiana website, on July 21st, 1838, the Logansport Telegraph reported that 2 men spotted the monster, which was 60 feet long and looked like a huge snake.
I can't even imagine seeing a snake that big.
Me either. I promise you, I would be out of that area so quick.
Oh yeah, you would never see me out that lake again.
It seems like the lake had a history of having unusually large fish in it.
Which makes me think that it could have been some overgrown animals in it.
An 1849 Logansport Journal article reported a buffalo carp that weighed several hundred pounds.
I saw that on the Unnatural Indiana site. The head apparently weighed 30 pounds.
And apparently they had this head on display there in Logansport for a while so that people could come and look at the giant fish.
It's just wild to me.
That wasn't the only big fish found in the lake.
A 116-pound spoonbill catfish was found in the lake back in 1888. And according to the article that I read, it took about 4 men to get it out of the lake.
I love it. They put the fish on display and charged people 10 cents to take a look at it.
I didn't know what that was, so we Googled it, and it's a type of paddlefish. It's not actually part of the catfish family.
Neat.
So it seems to me that this lake had a history of producing just really big animals.
That's what it seems like.
Curiously, though, according to the Unnatural Indiana website, there has not been any stories lately about the lake.
No reports of the monster or of any more crazy large fish.
The only thing that's creepy is a sound that seems to come from the lake in the winter.
Yeah, the legend's creepy.
So for those of you not familiar with northern Indiana, we can get some pretty harsh winters.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for lakes up here to freeze over. Even Lake Michigan will have ice.
Or to have ice storms.
So according to the Unnatural Indiana website, when the lake freezes over in the winter, there's a strange sound coming from Lake Manitou.
The sound appears to be coming from underneath the ice. It's a roaring sound.
Legend says that it is the Lake Monster and that it's trying to get its head above the lake ice.
So creepy. Our podcast is growing, and it's so exciting to see all of our new followers on social media and all of the many downloads of our podcast.
Most of our listeners come from iHeartRadio. However, we are on all the major podcast platforms. If you like what you hear, please don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us through.
Your comments and likes help others find us. Thank you for tuning in to the Hoosier Myths and Legends podcast. Now back to our show.
The lake seems to have a fascinating history.
The area around it was known as a vacation spot.
There were lots of hotels and recreation places for people.
I have seen pictures online, and I honestly have to say that I would have loved to have stayed at the Colonial Hotel there back in its heyday.
I agree, the hotel looks pretty fancy.
It was also known for having big bands perform there.
Have you ever had an experience at Lake Manitou? Are you familiar with some of these legends about the monster? We would love to hear about it. Please send us an email to HoosierMythsAndLegends@gmail.com. We may use it in a later episode. In the email, let us know if you wish to remain anonymous.
To see our source material, please visit our website, HoosierMythsAndLegends.com. Please find us and follow us on Facebook or Instagram. Hoosier Myths and Legends podcast is a Quigley Virtual Services production.
Our theme song was written and recorded by Wet Blanket. The song title is Taxidermy Race Car.
As always, stay spooky.